This has been very, I have like squirrel syndrome coming up. And so can you make sure everyone's muted?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I have it so everyone is muted when they join, but then some people just go ahead and it doesn't work.
Totally fine. I was like, squirrel. Okay, so when it comes to the conversation part, this is one area that I have seen the biggest growth opportunity in. I love that word choice because it's so true. It's something that you guys need to understand. For one, it's going to take courage, but it's also going to take practice. And that's the one thing that I do want to let you know, because I've been doing this for 4 years. My conversations did not look like this at the beginning. They were cold messaging like fanatics at the beginning. But now with Lavelle, I had to learn to be team human and to actually have conversations and actually build that conversation to go over pricing that shows value. So when it comes to that, I want to first off, I want you guys to drop in the comments any type of like part when it comes to pricing that makes you kind of stumble, or maybe there's a lack of confidence in, because that's where I want to identify. Because there's two parts to when it comes to pricing, and I'm not going to talk about the conversation, but when it comes to pricing, there's really two parts I want to talk about. One, it's the confidence in the pricing. Two, it's how you're wording the pricing. And these are huge, 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 huge. Because if you're not confident in the pricing part, as far as like how much it costs and you think it's expensive, that vibe is going to attract, and that's why you're going to have a resistance to sealing the deal. And I want to break this down for the confidence in the pricing. Our pricing is gold, and I'm going to build some value upon that. And this is how I explain it exactly to our customers if there's ever an objection, and Lindsay may do it different. So I'm going to talk about this when it comes to pricing, and people are like, it's expensive. No, it's not. I used to spend $300 probably bi-weekly, if not more, on coffee. That did not include my anxiety medication. That did not include my workout supplements, which was pre-workouts, fat burning stuff. I'm not going to go into all the fancy names because you guys will be like, what the heck? I was in the best shape of my life when I started Lavelle, okay? But I was so exhausted, lethargically exhausted. I was like working to be in fitness competitions when I had first started. That was like my goal. But my body was screaming from the inside out. So when I talk about the money I save and break it down that way, I'm talking about, hey, I'm not on anxiety medication. I'm not spending freaking $5 every cup of coffee I drink from Starbucks. I'm not needing workout supplements. I'm not needing vitamins like my women's, what were those like generic bullshit that you can get in the, sorry, I cuss. That was that.
Multivitamins.
Yeah, those guys, the ones that are like huge course.
The ones that like you're supposed to take, but all of us tell our doctors we do and we really don't. Yeah, those.
Yes, those ones. So I break it down and I paint that picture, and like you're gonna hear that word a lot between leadership. We're always talking about painting that picture. And so when I paint that picture, people are like, holy crap, you're really right. And I'm like, I know. That's why you're going to thank me later. And I always say it like that. And they're like, you know what? Let me get started. So I word it like that. Sorry if my stuff's beeping. But I want to talk about pricing. And I always, and I'm not going to, you guys, I am not, and this is just me. I've been in this industry. I've been with Lavelle for like 20 months, and I still don't know like every little detail of like the pricing. And that's me. And I'm not saying like some people are so different, but I just do my thing, make sure my clients are taken care of, make sure my promoters are taken care of it. When it comes to pricing, I start with the highest price, which is going to be, I don't know, Lindsay can correct me because I don't know, but it's like $224 with a specific patch. I think it's the Ultras. My brain is on jet lag mode. So
our most expensive patch, or DFT if we're being
with all three steps.
Yeah, for all three is going to be $234, and it's with the burn. And that's with a month of shakes, so 2 boxes of shakes, a full month of your women's or men's capsules, and the burn DFTs. The next one's down from that for a full month. So again, I'm giving you full month. So 30-day supply of all 3 steps. The next one down from that is going to be your Ultra or your Duo burn, or your Duo patches, not burn, but the Duo ones. So again,
what, like
those ones by themselves, those patches, those DFT. I need to stop saying patches. I swear on my life. Those guys are. We're gonna do baby steps here. Those ones are $74 each, so they come to $228.
That's the math I was looking.
Two with the full month supply. Then down from that is you're gonna have black or white label, and those ones for a full month supply are $208. And then the next one down from that is just your standard DFT, just your regular wearable nutrition, the little square that comes in all promoter packs. Just, of course, my dogs. Welcome to my life. That just comes in the promoter packs, the normal $200, $400, and $800 promoter pack, just the standard one. That one is $198 for a full month. So from there, I'm like, sorry, I'm also muting as we go, but from those, so that's a full month of all 3 steps. I give options as well as Brittany. I don't know where you were going to go from that, but for me, I give that option and I give the 16-day option.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I do. But so what I do is I start off with the highest pricing based off of the goal. And like, cause once at this point, you should kind of already know what like DFT and things like that you want to work with. So that's where I start with that pricing. And Lindsay does it a little different. So I'm excited to kind of like hear her on this part. But I start with the higher pricing and then I give the auto ship pricing. So then they're seeing the value and the savings, but I don't use the word auto ship. I don't even bring that really up. I always say, hey, so what it is, normally you're going to be paying this price, but right now you're going to be getting it for blah, blah, blah. Which is like
the pricing that I just gave all of y'all is the pricing on auto ship, because if you're new, because we do have some new faces here. So if you are new, every single customer that you enroll, we want to enroll them on auto ship solely because it's the most beneficial for everyone. Not only is the customer getting the best price, but for you, it's going to count for, if you're in your first 14 days, it's going to count for your tracker. And not only that, it's going to count towards free product credit moving forward on top of your first 14 days after that, because as a promoter, you earn free product credit every single month if you're new and you didn't know that. But not only that, our auto ship can always be paused or deleted. So to me, to just not offer it at that price seems silly, just because of the word auto ship, because so many people are so afraid of that word. So I don't ever use that word. I personally do it different than Brittany. So she shares the highest price and then she shares that one. For me, I share only the auto ship price, but I totally, now hearing you say what you do, see how that could work for so many people, because you go in at a higher price and you say, hey, it's this, but today you can get it for this. Makes perfect sense. For me, my brain doesn't work that way, and I would probably mess up wording, because if you know me and you talk to me on a daily basis, words are very hard. So I like to keep it like as minimal as possible. So for me, I give the 2 options of the full month with shakes or the 16 days with shakes. Does anybody need all the pricing for the 16 shakes? Do you guys want me to do those?
Yeah, do it just in case, so it's recorded.
Oh, true. We're recording. Hi.
Sorry,
life. I already forgot, and it literally says in the top corner, recording. Hi. Okay. So your highest one for 16 days, you're going to be, is burn, and it's 190. So that's 30 days of women's or men's capsules, 16-day supply of shakes, and burn 30-day supplies of DFTs. The next one down from that is either Duo or Ultra, and it is 174. The next one down from that is going to be black or white label, and it's 164. And the next one down from that is going to be your standard DFT, and it's 154. So a rule of thumb when learning pricing, if you are new or you just like this kind of trick, this is how I learned to remember them instead of having to always look them up, is your standard pack for your vitamins and your 16 days of shakes is going to be $100.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
From there, you're just going to add your DFT. So knowing your DFT pricing is going to be where you're at, because then you're just adding that to the $100 and you know where you're at, because another box of shakes is just 44. So that's how I learned the math part of it. And it just kind of stuck over time of talking to multiple people with it. But if just in case you don't have access to your back office or you don't have access to your notes, that's the rule of thumb that I always learned, is the first 2 steps is $100 for 16-day supplies of shakes. Then I add my DFTs and $44 for another box if that's what they want. So that's just how I did it. But go ahead, Britt, and finish how you
No, I
do your
absolutely love
pricing.
that. I'm glad you told me that, because that's something me and you were talking about. I'm like, I want to hear your style, because that's the thing about leadership, and this is what I love about pricing, and even different parts of conversation. We all do things so differently, and we have things that work, but sometimes we need to grow from what works for us and grow into a new level. So even for me, like, I'm learning things as we're doing this training, because Lindsay can break it down in a simplified way where I can kind of do it where it's like lower retail price to auto ship price, but now seeing like different tricks and stuff. It just really depends on the conversation. So I wanted to make sure we went over that, because I know pricing has been really like, I feel like something that holds us back, because there's either the lack of confidence or not knowing how to break it down in a way that's simplified. And maybe my style might be not as simplified and Lindsay is, or vice versa, but this is where we're going to like help you guys overcome. I did want to dive into a couple questions on that. Did anyone have any other questions on pricing? Did you?
I think the only questions that we've had is the conversation that leads to it. So yeah. Do you have a specific way, or do you want me to do mine?
You tackle yours first, because I want to talk about the questions that tie into it after.
Okay, perfect. So for me, pricing was never really a hard thing for me to do at first, just because I was using the products and I knew how good they were. So for me, every single month, if you're on here, you're a promoter, obviously, but if you are not using your 3 steps every single month and you expect other people to order from you, why and how is my questions to you. Even pregnant, of course, because this is recording, I have to say this claim. I had permission from my doctor just because it's recording, and I always like to make sure I'm legal. If you know me, then you know. So for me, it's really, really big on, if you expect other people to use things and you expect other people to do them and you're not willing to use them and you're not willing to do it, how do you expect someone else to listen to you? How do you expect someone else to trust you? Because when they come back to you and they say, well, are you doing your 3 steps every single day? Or what's your favorite flavor shake? And you have to go back and say, oh, well, I mean, I don't take the shakes. How do you expect your customers to then want to use them? So for me, my number one question when enrolling customers or promoters is always about the shake. And I'm a huge texture person. So for me to be able to come back and say, I'm a huge texture person. And sorry, I probably sound like a moose because I'm losing my voice, but I'm a huge texture person. Sorry. So to me, I love our shakes because they're not chalky. They don't leave that film. I actually just mix mine right up in a blender bottle with a full glass of almond milk. So I do more than the 8 ounces personally, just because I am a huge texture person. When you can come back to them like that, if they're a texture person, they're going to be like, oh, like she knows what I'm talking about. She's tried other shakes and she knows what I'm talking about. And that's huge, because that automatically just shows that you use it and that you know what you're doing. And the next question I get is flavors. So when I can come back and say, well, my favorite is chocolate with chocolate almond milk, but I'm a huge chocolate sweet tooth. And then they can come back and say, oh, well, I don't really love chocolate. And I can say, well, Rob's favorite is our strawberry. And then they can say, ooh, I like that. What other flavors? And I say, well, we have vanilla, candy cane, apple pie. And they're like, well, tell me about those ones. And I'm like, well, candy cane is straight peppermint. And that like makes my little like wannabe Christmas heart so happy. And then I say apple pie is very sweet. Vanilla, to me, it's just vanilla. Like you can get that anywhere. So to me, to be able to explain that to people, they automatically are like, oh, so she's tried them. She uses them. I don't question it, right? If you went to somebody and they were like, oh, well, I've really only tried vanilla. Okay, well, what about apple pie? What does it taste like? And they're like, oh, well, I don't know. Oh,
you can't
okay, like That's not confident. You know what I mean? Like, I would not order from that because it isn't confident. But to be able to, for me to say, like, it's a sweeter taste, like, I like it, but it is a sweeter taste. So if you don't like sweet, it might not be your jam. I know people put some cinnamon, stuff like that is huge when it comes to wording. And then when you get to the pricing, they already have that trust in you because you talked about the products with them and you shared more than just what the products do, but you shared your experience. That makes sharing the pricing so much easier. So when people think that pricing is just numbers, it's growing that trust and it's growing that bond with somebody that literally over talking about shake flavors and the fact that we're texture people does that, if that makes sense. Sorry. So it does that for you. So if you can get that level of sharing the products and why you do it, again, sharing over selling. I don't know how many, I could literally say this so I'm blue in the face. When you share something versus selling it to somebody, they have a better reaction to you.
Yep.
I every single day share. I don't ever sell anything. I'm not a salesperson. I'm a nurse and I know science like the back of my hand. And if you were to tell me I had to literally sell something, I would vomit. Like that's why it's so when people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't sell. Like, no, I'm going to have an eye twitch and I'm going to get hives because I don't sell. I share my experience. When people ask me about products, I share it. So when I can tell them the pricing, it just rolls off my tongue at that point because I know what the products can do and I know what they are for me. So when you can share your experience with it, your pricing rolls off the tongue. So when you are talking to your customers, the first thing you should ask them is what results they want. When you're talking to promoters, the first thing you should know is why they want to do this. Yeah. If you don't know those two things, and you can't say that you had a conversation with a customer or promoter, whether even if a promoter just wants this for results and then they see the comp plan aspect of it, any of my personally enrolled people who are here I probably have told them multiple times, the products are my jam. Ask me about it. The science behind the products, that is my jam. Like, let's dig into that. Comp plan, yeah, I know it because I've been in this for almost 2 years. So, like, you kind of just pick up some things. Numbers aren't really my thing, but you pick it up as you go. But the products are my jam. So I build that connection with my promoters, with my customers, because they know they can ask me questions about that by the time we get to the pricing, they have so much faith in the other things that it makes sense. Go ahead, Britt.
Oh, no. I was like painting that. I'm Italian.
Were you painting? It's okay. Painting. I do this too. I go to church. I'm like, yes.
I was painting that picture.
But yeah, so if that makes sense, once you get there and you have that relationship, you have that bond, even if the bond is like a 10-minute conversation, this doesn't have to be a 7-hour conversation. I can explain the products to somebody in like 3 minutes and then be like, I need this in my life. And I'm like, yeah, you do, because like I couldn't live without it. That once we get to pricing and I'm telling them, I give them the 2 options. So Britt does it where and if this is your way, run with it, try it. If my way, if you learned my way and it isn't working for you, try Britt's way, because just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Just like something works for Britt doesn't mean it's going to work for me. But for me, what works the best is giving options. So when I talk about pricing, after I build that connection with them and I share the products and we know what results they're looking for, we know why they want to use the products or why they want to join this company, that's when I share the products and I give options. So I'll go over my options for customers and my options for promoters because it's a little bit different, but I give options. So my options for customers are the 32 days, but the full month supply or the 16-day supply. I give them both options. From there, I talk to them about it. I say, if you aren't a shake person and you can't commit to a shake every single day, let's start you out on the 16 days because honestly, you can go in and add another box if you're running out. Like, it's not a big deal. And that also shows that you're not just in it for money. Like, if you've talked to me, I don't even talk about money that like, because it doesn't, to me, I'm not in this for that right now. I'm in this because I want to help other people. So when they come to me with their results, I legitimately want them to get those results, right? I'm not just giving them the highest price product and being like, buy this, buy this, buy this. I want them to feel the results and I want them to feel them on day one. So to me, if they're not a shake person and they're not going to use that extra box, it's going to sit on their counter. That's how people become bitter. So I literally will just say, let's start you out with 16 days then. When you know, like you love it, because to me, I've never had anyone tell me that they hate our shakes. Mm-hmm. So once they know, then they can go in and order another one. Like, no big deal. It's fine. Ship to their door. Cool. When it comes to promoters, I give them two options. I personally love the $200 and the $400 pack, and I explain it to them. The $200 pack is a month supply of our 3-step system. Promoters that have enrolled with me or anybody that has talked to me already knows what our 3-step system is, because the first thing I tell anybody is about our products. Because if you can't stand behind a company and our products, then why are you promoting? Just like if you're not using the product. And I am so brutally honest with that. If somebody comes to me and they have no interest in the products, I am not your girl. Like, I have turned people away because they just are like, oh, I just want to make the quick bonus. Okay, well, I can't train you. I can't lead you, because I need you to understand how good these products are, because they're amazing. So to me, if you enrolled with me or you have talked to me about promoter packs, I tell you premium grade nutrition, all natural, non-GMO, gluten-free. Like, could say it like the back of my hand. They work on a cellular level. Like, they fuel your body and fill those nutritional gaps. They work on your absorption rate and your release rate with your body. So you're not going to be jittery, and you're not going to like midday crashes. Even if they're a promoter, they need to know that. Because how you bring someone in and how you teach them. Yeah. Human jumper cables. See, legit. Like, you can use these terms because you know why? It makes it you, and it makes it true. You don't have to be 1000% like medical science terms. Like, I'm huge, like, obviously nurse, like science terms. So like the ingredients, I know the names of it. I know what they do. I know this, I know that, but that's not my everyday like talk. That's not how I speak, right? Like, words are hard for me in general, so I'm not going to go into like all sciencey, right? So when I'm having a conversation, I want it to flow. So when you're talking to even promoters, you need to talk to that aspect of it so they know what they're doing and they know how to talk to other people, because how you bring someone in is how they're going to bring somebody in. And if you're bringing them in just saying, oh, well, you can do this, they're going to go to somebody and be like, you can do this. And it's not good. It's like the pebble doesn't get to the end of the creek. Yeah. If that's the right saying, right? So that's how I do it. I explain the $200 pack is a month supply of our 3-step system, because again, they know what our 3 steps are and they know what they do by this time. So by me just saying it's a month supply of our 3-step system, it makes sense to them because they know what that is. When I say, then the next one I say, and then I also really like our $400 pack. It is almost a 3-month supply of our 3-step system, plus promo codes of 10% off and free shipping for your customers and your promoters. Send. Now they have 2 options to choose from, and they can come to me if they need help with options, or they want to talk options out, or they have more questions. But now they know options, right? I'm not just telling them they have to enroll on one thing, because who am I? I don't care if whatever's best for them. And people will come back to me all the time and be like, wow, that $400 pack sounds amazing. And I'm like, yeah, it is, like those promo codes, but they're like, but I can't do that. And I'm like, girlfriend, like, that's fine. I enrolled on a $200 pack. I borrowed the $200 from my mom when I joined. Like, it is fine. Just because you don't enroll on a $400 pack does not mean you're not going to be successful. I have that conversation with people and they're like, oh, really? Like, I can do it at the $200 pack? And I'm like, hi, enrolled on the $200 pack, literally borrowed it. Yes, you can do it.
Word vomiting part too, making sure that you're like breaking it up in pieces, like Lindsay's saying, and like focusing on. So she'll give those options, but then she stops and doesn't keep going into all the other options and then word vomiting all of it, because that is one thing I feel like that. Sorry, not to cut you off, Linz. No. But like that was the other. I'll like forget. My brain is not working, you guys. This travel thing is like life. Like, but like word vomiting is another thing. Like, I feel like sometimes we over explain where what's not needed to be explained. If they aren't asking and they're asking for just a couple breakdown of the options, start off there so that then it's keeping it simplified, and then let them respond. And then you know how to gear it to the next set of options. Because I do it similar to Linz, but different than Linz. I do the retail, then I do the lower. Then I work my way down into my options so that I can work with their budget, because it opens up that conversation. So that's all I had on that part.
No, you're good. And cut me off whenever, because it allows me time to cough without like grossing y'all out. So for me, I only like to give those options just because I don't want to word vomit. So we have a question of why don't I talk about the $800 pack? It's not that I don't talk about it. It's just I try and make sure that I'm realistic for everyone and in my shoes. Not that it isn't a great pack, because you get paid as a $200K for 4 months. You get more promo codes. You get almost 6 months supply of products. So it's an amazing pack. But if the $200 and the $400 scares them, the $800 is going to really scare them. So for me, I do the 200 and the 400, and then I kind of talk to them. And if they're dead set and they like that 400, and it's not like, oh, well, is there any other options? I've only been asked if there's any other options probably 4 or 5 times. And then I've brought up the 800, and maybe 2 or 3 of them have done the $800 pack. But my highest pack that I enroll is a $400 pack, just because I do those options like that. I talk about it, and you know what? I match their efforts. That's how I don't word vomit. Not only in my trainings, if you're in my downline, like, I'll match your effort. If you're not messaging me, I'm not blowing up your inbox, right? If you're messaging me, I'm responding because I'm matching your efforts. I do that in my conversation. Like I said, I'm huge into the science aspect. So I could literally talk about our products till I'm blue in the face and the science behind it. But somebody who isn't into science, it's not going to be what they need to hear. They could be a numbers person and need to hear numbers. And I spent an hour talking to them about the science behind the products and not listening to them what they needed. So by me just giving them options and just by talking about things and asking them, like, well, what can I tell you about this, that, or the other, like stuff like that. If you haven't watched how I talk to potentials on the team page, I highly suggest watching that, because I go over that of how I lead it to, so it's an open conversation of, how it's an open conversation of all the different topics that can be brought up with your potentials. So if you haven't watched that, I highly suggest you watch that. That way you know what I mean by I let them lead it, because everybody has their own questions that they want to ask. Britt, do you want to tackle the other questions? Oh no, I think her Wi-Fi just got
Yeah, there's a couple things I wanted to touch on. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but not when you lay down.
Hear me okay?
Yeah, you can't lay down.
Sorry about that. Right. No, okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was when people ghost you. I want you to look back and see, did you really find that true value in those conversations? Did you find their need? Did you start building upon that goal? Did you start really getting that picture painted? Did you really start building that value? And I also want you to give yourself grace too, because people don't just sign up like that. That's where the fortune's in the follow-up. And I think that's where a lot of people get disconnected. You think because you this is how my mind used to think. I think because someone gave me the price, I went over it all with them, that they're like ready to rock and roll and they're ready to sign up right this very minute. No, it's not always going to be like that. Okay. I want you to start removing that from your mindset. That's something that you need to reprogram a little, and just understand put yourself in their shoes. You guys didn't just sign up I did, but not everyone does sign up right when someone told you. You know what I mean? So I get it, but I also want you to maybe put yourself in someone else's shoes that was like, I've messaged them 6 times, 20 times, and followed up with them. And then their timing is finally right, because I connected with them based off of my income producing activities. Because that's the thing, guys. If I'm not doing those income producing activities and tying it back up into my follow up, or tying it back up into engaging and getting to know them and building that trust, people do ghost, and it's okay. And no is never a no. It's just not right now. Guaranteed. So keep doing your income producing activities. Keep keeping your face front focal with that person, and follow up with them and see how their goals are. I always when it comes to follow-ups, I always go in and say, so after it's been a few weeks and I haven't heard from them, let's say, I say, okay, so tell me, what have you done that's worked towards your goals that you came to me about? What have you changed? Have you started working out like you said you wanted to? No.
Y'all, she's not kidding though. That look on her face, she's not kidding when she says that. That's Brit. She's not kidding.
I do. I'm like, so you said you wanted to go to the gym and start eating healthy. Have you started? No. Okay, so why? and I'm sorry, this is me, and we were talking about this at like in Jamaica. I'm a very bold personality, and it's not for everyone, and I understand that. But I want you to twist things in your versions of maybe what would work for you in your income produce activities. Passion isn't pushy. And Courtney said that so many times where, sorry, I'm distracted next to it. Like anyways.
Courtney says that all the time. Your passion isn't pushy. So for that, there's probably, let's see who's on here from that I've recently enrolled. Abriana. She is. Sorry, I'm totally going to call you out right now, babe. I'm pretty sure that we've talked, her and I have gone back and forth, mainly me following up with her probably for 5 months, 6 months, maybe even longer than that, since April. But you know what I do, and this is a question that I just saw, is how I keep my follow-ups, like my potentials, people that have sorry, this dog just, I'm her bed, have shown interest, right? I have in our notes on our phone, I keep a potentials list, and I do it by months. So I literally have all the way back from when I started it in March. So Abriana made the list in April, but in March, I have potentials, and I have March, and then I have all the people that I talk to, and if they're a customer, I just do a dash customer, so I know, and then all the rest of them are promoters, mainly because when I talk to customers, I get more promoters than I do customers. I won't lie, like my customer signing is real down, but my promoters is way up. So for me, because I give both options when people message me and they ask me like options. That's another option I give. I tell them about both accounts. But so keeping my potentials like list organized that's how I do it. And then as I'm working towards something or a new month or it just gets too long, I start a new notes, but it always says potentials, the month, and then the name. And then when I enroll them, I either I put an emoji next to them, like a check mark emoji or something, just so I know that that's the month that they enrolled in. And I also am able to go back and look and make sure that nobody like is being like silent to where they haven't reached out to me, because like this week, it's Monday. So last week, sorry, I'm combining my weeks. So last week I enrolled 7 promoters. So for me, some of them have reached out to me a lot more than the others, right? So for me, I want to make sure that the ones that haven't reached out to me know that I'm there, right? They know straight from the start that that's where I am and I'm here, but they need to reach out to me because, hi, newborn life, like, not that I will ever forget about like anybody on my team. And that's why I do my IPA chats, and we have our team pages and our regular chat, because I don't ever want anybody to feel like they were forgotten because I'm learning how to be a mom, right? So for me, I always say, message me. Like, you're not going to bug me. You're not going to ask me too many questions. You're not annoying. Like, I need you to message me if you need something, because if you don't message the person that enrolled you and ask your questions, they don't know that you need something. Like, Brittany can't read minds. I sure as heck cannot read minds. Like, we don't know. So it's the same thing with potentials. When people, see, we say that all the time. And that's what I say to you. I don't know that you need something unless you ask me. So ask questions. That's the same thing with potentials. So the reason I keep that list is so that way I know on follow-ups, that's how I follow up, to make sure that I have reached out to them to ask them if they have any other questions or to let them know about promos. I'm not a mass follow-up kind of person. I follow up maybe 2 or 3 times. After that, if they don't show any interest, I leave them alone until they show me interest again. If they saw you once and they saw what you were doing, they're going to see you again. Like, social media, if they saw you once, they interacted with you enough to be able to see your content, they're still seeing it and they're still watching. So for me, that I don't overdo the follow-ups. But yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to add with that, Britt?
No, I love the potentials list. That's something I didn't implement for a few months and started implementing again recently. And honestly, you guys, if you don't have one, it's so simple. Just start keeping track of like who you're talking to. I have similar, like Benz was saying, I have my notes section now. And what I do is I have a Facebook kind of part and then an Instagram part, because Instagram's a little confusing, obviously, because people's have their, yes, exactly how mine looks like. So then you have your Instagram names and stuff like that. So then it's organized, and then I know who to kind of stay like in engagement and things like that.
Hold on, I'm muting. Sorry.
So, no, you're fine. I can't, my Wi-Fi is kind of sucking in the room, so I can't pull up the questions from the chat.
Oh, you're good. I'll pull them up, but we have a couple questions for people who are on here, and then I'll pull up the other questions from our team page.
Okay.
How do you explain both accounts when someone reaches out to you? So for me, I ask every single person that messages me, you automatically kind of know when somebody wants information about a promoter, like to be a promoter, because they say like, what do you do? How do you do it? How do I get started? Those are normally the topics that are brought up. But when customers, the reason why I don't sign a lot of customers is because I do this. So if you are loving the amount of customers you are enrolling, you might not want to switch it to this way, because the customers I enroll, I maybe do like 2 or 3 a month, if that. I won't lie, because mainly everybody who comes to me once after we talk, they want to be a promoter. So I ask them off, like when they come to me and they're like, what are your products, do this or that? Well, again, products are my jam, so I have no problem talking about those. But when we talk about pricing, after I give them their pricing and they tell me that, yeah, let's do this, I say, okay, what type of account do you want? Do you want a customer account or a promoter account? The only difference is, as a promoter, you will make money. We have these amazing bonuses going on right now. The first one of your first 14 days, you can make $100 or $800 with $200 product credit. Either way, there's no membership fee, no monthly fees, and no auto ship fees. So let me know which option works best for you. And most people come back to me with promoter just because there are no fees. Like, our company sets us up to succeed. So a lot of people that talk to me, that's their option. If I didn't do that, I'd probably sign a lot more customers, like, not gonna lie. But that's how I word it.
I'm promoter strong too, and it's because a lot of times, you guys, and this was a question above though, like when people say it's expensive, that's a business cue. And what I mean by cue, that's like an alert. Like if things are tight or money's tight, or, you know, things are at that point where they're having to pinch pennies, that shouldn't be someone's reality. And we're holding the key. Like, we're the key to someone's change. And so I am a little promoter strong like Lynn's on that. But that's another thing, that when it comes to it, giving them options and then working with what they're comfortable with, because a lot of times, like 99%, like honestly, like 90% of the time, when someone's a customer and they experience our products and they see like how bomb.com they are, I literally will get a message within the first 72 hours. Like, I think I'm wanting to promote this. So that's just me on that. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at interrupting.
No, you're fine. One of the questions on the team page is step-by-step with sealing the deal with someone who's interested in joining the business. Again, I would say if you haven't watched my potentials training that I did, and if you need me to tag you in it, let me know. I think it was Jenna who asked that. Hold on, let me go back. Jenna, if you want me to tag you in that, let me know. But that pretty much spells it out, like how I talk about it, and then some little tips from tonight of what we do. That probably will answer that the best for you, because I did a pretty intensive training on how I talk to potentials. Britt, this one sounds like a good one for you. How to nail down opportunity posts without sounding salesy. How do you do those?
Okay, so I love this question because I never talk, when I talk about business, and if you scroll back to January of 2018 when I first started this business, I mean, you guys can do your homework and research my profile. I spoke to life what I wanted. So, and I'm sorry, I'm in New York, you guys, so it's loud if you hear all that. But when I started, I was working 13-hour days. So if you're new and don't know me, I was working 13-hour days. I was in school full-time and working full-time. I was a single, well, Nick wasn't moved in all the way yet, and I was a single mom. I'm a homeowner, all of it. So busy is an excuse, and I'm not going to go into all that kind of stuff. But what I did with business opportunities is, and like speaking about what I wanted this business to do, even if I was only made like, let's say I made $50 my first week, I still spoke to life where I wanted to be. So my first goal was to bring myself, well, my first goal was to get a car, because I couldn't, like my car payment with my previous vehicle, I was always like calling my dad crying because I couldn't afford it. I paid like $450 for a 2015 Dodge Journey, and I was like, yeah, I had a mom van, and I love it at the time. But so if anyone had a Journey, sorry. But like when it comes to it, I spoke to life. I'm earning this car. So when I would talk about like different things, I would break down the highlight points of businesses, because we don't have, like, you can't go anywhere and find what we have. Like, we get hundreds of dollars in product credit when you're working your business correctly. You get like no overhead, no auto ship requirements, no website fees, no, like, nothing. There's nothing. There's no annual fees. There's nothing. And that's unheard of in this industry, for one. And then the cherry on tops are like the weekly commission, all this stuff. So when I would talk, I would build value upon my vulnerabilities, which was debt, which was struggle, which was sick and tired of getting up every morning with anxiety and barely wanting to get in my car to go to my job. So I would talk about my transparency of my insecurities, which were my vulnerable struggles, and I would say, this is what I'm building for. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm fighting for this. I'm gonna be bringing myself home. Watch me be retired 2018. And I did it. And you see that, I think where people have the disconnect is they're not speaking into life what they want. And when you're like doing business opportunities, your job is not to sell the opportunity. I mean, it's a sharing thing, but your job is to build value upon where you're at or where you want to be and how you want to show up. And so I really talked about the heartstrings of things, if that makes sense. Like, I talked about, like, for example, like, Kayla's got her baby in her lap right now. I'm sorry, I see babies and I'm like, so I'm like, and that's like the beauty of, like, do you know how many women want that? You know, Lindsay, her and Rob haven't missed a moment of Rise Life, and that's because they're home together building this industry and this business and this empire. People need that. Talk about that. Like, if that's something you want, speak upon it. Just because it hasn't happened for you doesn't mean you can't talk about how you're making it happen. So this is you working your business. This is you making it happen. Regardless of how long it takes, it's going to happen. You just got to believe it's going to happen, and you got to literally start speaking in life. So I would really focus on that, and then really, I'm on a training and I can't talk right now. Why do people FaceTime me? I would really focus on that part and really focus on building value upon that need. And depending on what that need was, sorry guys, my life.
No, I love that. And sorry if you hear Ryland crying in the background. He's getting changed. So some key points that I add. Can you guys hear me over the crying? Okay, still? Yeah? No, you're fine, baby. They can hear me. Okay, so the key points that for me in my opportunity posts that I share are, we have zero overhead, no quotas, weekly pay with check matching. There's no other company in this industry that does check matching like we do, just saying. No charting, a simple product line, because literally our products are so simple to use. They don't have to be used all day long in order to feel it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to constantly be taking something. Free product credit each month, no mandatory auto shipment for customers or promoters. People feel the products on day one, the $800 bonus in your first 14 days, and our luxury auto bonus at the second rank in the company. So if anybody needed just a couple key points, those would be the ones that I would pick to use. And then I'm going to do one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Let me make sure we got all of these on here. Is it easy to switch an account to a promoter after they're a customer? Yeah, it's just at the bottom. They can upgrade it. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Britt's typing them out for you. Okay, and then another question that we had on here is, how do you set yourself up on a schedule? Do you have a system for keeping track of customers? Oh, well, we just kind of went over that one too with my potentials list. If you don't have a potentials list started for customers and promoters, I used to not do it and I would think that my brain would remember. And then I realized who I was and that I would never remember. So I started doing that and it's been a total game changer because it's allowed me to check back with people. I also use the calendar section in my phone when people tell me, hey, on Friday or hey, on Wednesday, I'm ready. I literally put in my calendar on my phone, message so-and-so, just underneath that date. So that way, that day when I wake up, you know how you like your calendar says what you have to do for the day on your iPhone? Well, it pops up for me to message them. So I remember, just because I know I won't remember. Oh yeah, the 3 lifestyle getaways, all of those things that Britt just put in the chat option. So $800 bonus, free product credit, lifestyle getaways, car bonus, weekly pay, no charting, no website fees. Those are all really, really, really good points when you are doing opportunity posts or posts like for anything like that. Those are really good. Plus right now, all newbies have the opportunity to earn $4,800 in their first month because of the bonuses from now through December. Like, that's awesome. So those are really good things to add. As far as all the rest of the questions, I think that we got them all. If we didn't, go ahead and put them in the team page underneath where I asked for y'all to put questions, and we will like check it and comment back to y'all and get your guys' questions answered. But I didn't want to keep y'all any longer than we already have. So Britt, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, that is it. And yes, if you guys need anything, my inbox is always open. Lindsay's inbox is always open. But make sure, the one thing I really want to challenge this, and I'll leave you at this, is if you're new or you're within your first 6 months, a year, whatever, I really, really, really want you to start leading into your upline as much as possible. Like, if you're not blowing us up, you're not talking to us enough. And like Lynn said, we're going to match your effort. We're not here to chase. We're here to help you and grow you. So let's just keep that in mind. And let's finish this last 90 days of this decade. Yeah, I think that's a like thing. Like strong as AF, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Night, everyone. Love y'all.